not my intention, it's never my intention. But I do it from time to time. It's never what I mean to do. But here we are. So I'm going to put some makeup on, get ready to go out and see my friend in like half an hour. And I thought I would chat with you. I had this on my list to film this week and time got away from me. Doesn't it always? How are you guys doing? This is my drawer of current makeup. How are you guys doing on this Saturday? I went to bed last night with, I always describe it as the worst headache of my life, but it can't always be the worst headache of my life, can it? Can't always be. But it felt like the worst headache of my life. I've also got one brush, which is full of hair. I cannot find another brush. It's not really fit for purpose, but I'm just going to put my hair back because it's raining. It's raining and horrible outside today, isn't it? It's backwards. It's backwards. Also, I feel quite pleased with myself because when I was wearing this jumper the other day, my daughter wanted to know where it was from because she wanted to buy one. So she wanted to borrow my jumper. I've got to that stage of life where my child wants to borrow my clothes, but also I feel quite like, well, I'm wearing clothes that an 18-year-old wants to wear. What does that say about me? Not 100% sure. Hi! Oh, wow. Walking back from Stonehenge. Feels like you should be doing something different than joining my live. Katrina, that seems crazy. We are going to get into the topic of the headline of the video, I promise. It's not just sensational. I've been thinking about this all week. I don't know what kicked it off. I don't know what it was that was like, maybe it's the thing of, no, I don't know what it was that was like, this is the, oh, it's a long walk. I have no idea about it. I've driven past Stonehenge many times, but never actually gone to Stonehenge. I'm currently freaking out about buying a business. I'm just a nurse. What does that even mean? I'm just a nurse. What business are you buying? I'm immediately regretting putting this jumper on. It's so warm, but that is why I'm wearing it. I love this jumper so much. It's my David from Schitt's Creek jumper. I could almost do like, I might do David Halloween in this jumper. Love it so much. Oh, bridal business. I love that. Years and years and years ago, around the time I started YouTube actually, so like 13 years ago, I actually, I've got these. Do you remember these? Tea tree cleansing pads. They sent them to me and I've had them on my desk and I've just been using them like in lieu of like a micellar water version, just to kind of clean off whatever before putting things on, and I quite like them actually. I quite like them. Oh, you don't need to be freaking out about that business because bridal business will always do well, won't it? So as I was saying, back in the day before I started YouTube, and I was out of work for a hot minute, which is why I started YouTube, I desperately, the job that I wanted, that I'd applied and like interviewed multiple times for, and it was a real pain to get to. If you know Sheffield Town Centre at all, what a pain to actually drive around. Like if you make a wrong turn, you're in that wrong turn for like the rest of your life. But I really wanted to work in this bridal shop. I didn't get the job, but ever since I've been like, that would be such an amazing job. Like my dad always used to say, here's the job he wanted to do like in his retirement, which he's in now, and he never did this job, so lies. But the job he wanted to do in his retirement was he wanted to work for Tom Wood. I don't know if that's like an all over the country thing or if it's just an individual business in Doncaster. I don't even know if it's still there, but this is from a long time ago. He wanted to work for Tom Wood Florist, and he wanted to deliver flowers because no one is ever sad when they receive a bunch of flowers, and I think that's a really nice idea. And I think it's a similar principle to a bridal shop. People are always happy when they're there, aren't they? I think it's a nice environment, it's a nice vibe. So yeah, the topic that has been on my mind, I I think partially because I took a minute away from YouTube, not intentionally, but just, I feel like it's been off and on coming for a long time. I wasn't as in love with makeup as I used to be, and I didn't really know what kind of content I wanted to make anymore. And then I was busy with the candle business, and just like, when I came back into it, I was like, right, what kind of content do I want to make? I was really struggling because I thought, well, yeah, I'm still interested in makeup and beauty. Ideally, what I really want to do, and I think as I get older, this will become easier. And I know this is probably going to sound funny, but I think when I hit 40, I'm going to move into a different zone. I'm going to be like, right, now my content is specifically for women over 40. This is what I want to do. And I think for a long time, I probably wanted to do that kind of content, but I feel like I need to hit 40 before I can market myself that way. Because really what I want to do is make content where I show people how to do things, how to maybe find some confidence in things, not like tutorials, but like, this is not as simple, it's not as hard as you think it's going to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, try to instill some confidence in people and show some people that they can do things that maybe they don't think they can do. So that's kind of where I feel like I'm heading in the future, which is why I say I'm never going to be off YouTube. I've only got plans for the future. But a big thing that kind of is a block for me when I think of what do I want to make, when I sit down and I'm like, right, I'm going to make a list of some videos that I want to create, is I don't want to be responsible for people spending money that they don't want to spend. That's also kind of in the same realm, but I worked in a sunglass hut at the airport, and I used to always say that people were always happy going on holiday. 100%, yes. And especially, like, that's the best place to work in an airport, because everywhere else people are going to be annoyed with you, aren't they? But working in a shop in the airport, just happy, just fun, just happy. I love. Why would we not want to only deal with people that are happy? So, that kind of is on my mind, because I know for a fact that YouTubers influenced me to become a YouTuber. I hate the term influencer, but it's not really on me to say I don't identify with that term, because we all influence people, whether we're doing it on purpose or not. Like, whether you're making YouTube videos or you're just recommending something to your neighbour, you're influencing what people are doing. So influencer is like, it's a term that I don't like because it's been made this awful thing, but it just really is people who influence other people's behaviours and spending habits. But that could be anything. Like, it's become like a dirty word, which I think is why I don't like to be associated with it. But it also is on my mind of, well, I don't want to be influencing people to do things that they wouldn't necessarily have done without my influence. And especially if it causes them to go into debt. Because that absolutely has happened to me in the past. And when I sit down, I make these lists of, well, what videos do I want to make? It used to be that I'd make a big list of like, well, I need to buy XYZ in order to create this content. And so in order to create the content, I had to spend money. I just don't like it. Do you know what I'm saying? Can you really be responsible for the actions of others? Like, I get where you're coming from, appreciate the sentiment, but we can definitely be responsible for influencing people to do things. Oh, do you know what? This is probably going to be too much blush, but I'm going to mix 2 of these Urban Decay Hydromaniacs together, because I think that would work probably quite well. I don't know if I want to go that mauve, given how blah it is outside. I want to brighten things up a little bit in my face. Obviously we can't make people do things, but definitely we can influence. We can convince someone, yeah, it's fine that you do that thing, and we all do that to a degree, like, for fun. Like, just buy the thing. But sometimes, if you're in a bit of a weak place, I know that shopping for me has always been a mechanism of, like, coping when things aren't going well. which I've definitely got better at as I've gotten older. I can definitely say I feel more comfortable with my emotional spending these days. It used to be something that worried me, honestly. I'm missing a concealer in here. Oh, it's there. But I don't want to be responsible for that. I don't really want to be someone who makes someone feel like they have to have something that maybe they never even were interested in. I mean, I'm going to give you an example of something that I recently realised. Oh, I desperately wanted this thing and then suddenly must have forgotten about it and now don't care at all. I wanted the new over-ear headphones from, I'm missing another brush as well, from Apple, desperately, absolutely desperately. In the summertime, maybe, when did they come out? When they were quite new, I was like, oh, I want these so bad. Like these, I need them. My life will not be complete until I've got these headphones. And I saw them on someone the other day and I thought, oh, I totally forgot they even existed. And I can tell you, nothing in my life would have been made better by buying those headphones. But there was definitely a couple of months, where I was like, right, when I can next afford a big, like, treat myself splurge, it's going to be those. And I'm so glad I didn't buy them now, because I don't think it would have been a benefit for me at all. There's a head coming out of these brushes, left, right and centre. They're coming out of the brushes, they're coming out of my head. I'm just overrun by hair. And I don't want to be that person who introduces that seed to someone and then makes them think, oh, I really, really need this thing. And they spend money on something that really they never needed. And I've like pushed that along. It's the same reason that I've very rarely made videos specifically about Amazon. Loads of people make those videos, and the reason that those videos are a thing is affiliate marketing. So I talked about this in a vlog this week. I have a hard time with selling stuff generally, and the reason this came up is obviously I've got my candle business with my friend Karen now, and I have a hard time like selling things. I can do it a little bit better on social media because I feel a bit detached from it. But if I was talking about it now, I wouldn't be like, oh, go and buy these things straight. I would find that really uncomfortable. And in the back of my mind, I've also got that I don't want people to think they need it to the point where they're buying it when they can't really afford it. We've both agreed, because Karen and I have both been in similar financial situations in the past and are both spenders. We've both agreed we don't want to add anything like buy now, pay later, like a Klarna or a ClearPay, because you can add that to any website basically. And we don't want to do that because we don't want to encourage people to buy things when they don't have the money, especially things like candles and wax melts and little decorative things. Like that's a fun thing to buy, and obviously we want people to buy it, it's our business, but we don't want them to don't buy it if you don't have the money. Don't do that. We've been there. No judgment, but we don't need to be encouraging that. And I think as influencers, because we can't get away from it, that is what we are. We should be careful. I've seen people do adverts for Klarna. I hate that. Like that's not something we want to be promoting. Surely we want people to be like, do we need this? Not enough to put it on like credit at all. Let me look at these comments. Oh, that's the door. Hopefully Ella's gonna answer the door. Yeah. I use people's reviews to actually buy less. Yes, that's great. Hate seeing influencers doing ads for gambling apps. So I did that once completely by accident. It wasn't a gambling app. It was a company who did, it was like a raffle type thing. I just didn't see it at the time as gambling. Of course it was. It was someone who was doing like buy tickets and you could buy this, you could get this designer handbag. And I was like, oh yeah, whatever. And someone pointed out, like that they were disappointed that I would promote a gambling thing, and I was like, oh my god, didn't even think about it. They were really nice about it, the company, because I said I can't do that again. I really didn't really think about I don't know, I just wasn't thinking. But I feel like for actual proper gambling apps, you know what you're promoting. And same, it's just a dangerous, you don't want to be getting people into trouble, do you? Just for the sake of getting a couple of quid to talk about something, do you want to get other people in debt? Doesn't feel ethical to me. Enjoy your content, decide if I like it, maybe you want it, hear about it, use your own judgment. I mean, obviously, you should always use your own judgment, but it's the introducing something in the first place that's completely frivolous and unnecessary that I have a hard time with. Finding scrolling Instagram is just enabling me to buy stuff I don't need at all. Get annoyed that I pay for a YouTube premium. And then you have to watch an ad for HelloFresh or Lily Silk. Good point. Also currently trying to talk myself out of wanting the Apple headphones. You don't need them. You don't need them, I promise. I'm not an Apple person, but gave in with the Bose ones. See, I've got some Bose headphones, and I very rarely use them. I mean, they're not wireless. She says, oh, first world problems. I nearly joked on that then. Oh, my headphones aren't wireless. I did actually think they were wireless when I bought them, which shows the whole thing. So, it's not the same, but I don't use them that much, really, when I travel. I don't mind the affiliate links for Amazon, quite like the list, so I know where to find items easily. Hate the likes of Temu, or cheap quality rubbish. If you feel strongly about it, you could do a little reminder pop up on your website. Oh, I like that. Conscious spending or buying. Yes, I really like that. I think I'm going to do that. I think that's the thing about you people. Trust you, know you're genuine. We know your intentions are always good. Thank you. Well, again, it's really hard because I can't say I'm perfect at all, because I will sit and talk to you about, oh, you need this thing. I didn't do a Friday faves this week because I was feeling really weird about it. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with telling you about the stuff that I'm really enjoying at the moment, but I don't know. I think, especially with it coming up to Christmas, I don't want to be the source of anyone spending money that they don't have. It's partially money that they don't have, but also money that they really don't need to spend. Like, don't get me wrong, if you want to do all your Christmas shopping at smokeandmatches.com, I'm totally fine with it. But I don't want people to see something that I talk about on the internet and then be like, oh, I need to buy this thing. No one needs to buy most of the things that YouTube people are talking about. And if you've got disposable cash and you're feeling like it, go for it. But it sometimes feels like, because it happens to me all the time. I was watching someone the other day who I really, really like, and they were saying that they bought something for travel, and their husband said, like, for a particular trip, and their husband said, I feel like you've got that already. And she said, yeah, but I haven't bought one for this trip. And she made a joke of it, and that is, that's funny. It's a joke. There's nothing wrong with what she said. But it really stuck with me as like, yeah, but that's the thing we do. I'm like, yeah, but I need it again because it's the excitement spending of seasonal stuff. It's the excitement spending of holidays. And after those trips, after the seasons, the event, whatever, we're left with things that, did we really want to buy that? Did we? And how much of that has become so much worse with the advent of the influencer. I'm not saying they really ruined our lives, but they didn't. How much harm has the YouTube community done versus good? I think I'm probably specifically thinking about the beauty community. Maybe originally, back in the day, when it was all you could do was make ads make money on ads on YouTube. There was no sponsorship. There was no affiliate marketing way back in the day. Maybe at that point it was like the thing that was in it for you as someone who's creating YouTube content was to make the best content possible, because then more people would watch that content and you would make more money on ads. So your motivator was to create great content, and a lot of that was community building and tutorial based, and I learned a lot from the early YouTube stuff. And now, it honestly, I mean, I can tell you from the other end of it, it doesn't matter how many people watch your videos. People will sponsor you to talk about things because it's cheaper than paying for an ad. People will pay you to talk about things, and I've said it before, but I turn down a lot of stuff because a lot of stuff just doesn't, it's just not right. I'll do ads, like I'm going to do an ad for Emma mattresses again this year, because we've been sleeping on an Emma mattress for years. Ella's got one, and this year Milo's going to get one. I really like the brand. I like the products. We've got pillows, we've got blankets, we've got all the things. I have been using those products myself for years now. I'm more than happy. No one's impulse buying a mattress. You're not going to watch me talk about a mattress and be like, oh, I need to buy that mattress, when you didn't need one before. If you were thinking about buying one, or once you've watched my video, if you hear that someone's thinking about buying one, then maybe it's top of mind because you've just heard me talk about it. That's how that kind of advertising works in my mind. So I don't feel bad about those kinds of sponsorships. Same as with HelloFresh. Like, that's not going to break the bank. And it's something that you might do once and decide never to again, or you might think, do you know what, I love it. It's not something that, like, that's a purposeful thing that will feed you. And potentially, if you do this isn't good for HelloFresh, but potentially if you do the initial deal and you've never done it before, you'll even save some money on your weekly shop that week. I don't feel bad about those sponsorships, but I do have in the back of my mind, like, if someone contacts me and says, oh, we want you to talk about this gift set and it's £200, but it's usually £500, but you've got to buy it on this day, then I'm like, someone's going to spend that £200 that would not have spent that £200 if I talk about that. Even if it's one person, that's enough for me to be like, oh, I feel bad. When Karen and I were creating our products, it was really important to me to do what we could to make it an affordable product. Because again, if you're marketing to an audience that's already there, you can definitely inflate prices. If you look at other people who've done similar things, not the same industry, but similar kind of merch, let's say, because this is not merch, this is an actual thing we're trying to make a go of. But people who sell things to their audiences, if you look at those things versus similar things from just regular brands, it's more expensive, because you can inflate the price of something when you're selling to a captive audience. And I'm not into it. I know what I kind of am. I was going to say, I'm not saying I'm better than them. I kind of am saying I'm better than them. That's not what I mean. I don't mean to like say, oh, they're all terrible people, because it's just the way of the world. I'm more saying maybe we need to be a little more mindful about how we consume this stuff, because it's very easy to get sucked into it, isn't it? Right, I haven't seen. Let me go back. Oh, quick. First and foremost, should a bridal shop stock fails? 100%. 100%. It's an add-on. Oh, like the pay later apps. If your store doesn't have Apple Pay and I don't want to put my card details in, it's easy to log in to Afterpay to buy something, then pay it off immediately. Interesting. It's the impulse buying that's the hard part. I definitely have to put myself in debt. To buy more stuff I don't need. Same. I just don't want to encourage anybody else to do that. I know the guy who did a fitness app for a famous influencer. She made more than £1 million in 24 hours. yeah, so I mean, there's nothing wrong with monetizing. Like, don't get me wrong, I spend hours, days, weeks, months, potentially at this point years solidly of my life, or have spent, creating content that people watch for free. So there comes a point where, do you know what? I'm so distracted. I wasn't even going to put mascara on. There comes a point where you have to monetize that time. So whether that be that you are monetizing that time by creating sponsored content and people are paying you directly, whatever, or you're creating merch and your audience is purchasing that. Like, it was a really big deal for Karen and I to get our first few orders from people outside of this community. I love that you guys have supported our business and made it almost instantly successful. Incredible. Could not be more thankful. But it's also important for us to not rely on that built audience for this to become a thing, because we don't want it to be a merch brand. If it was a merch brand, everything would have been twice as expensive. We'd have made all the money in a very quick space of time and then closed. We want this to be something that sells to everyone eventually. And you guys have just really seriously given us a leg up to allow us to kind of maintain a high level from a really early stage. But when you're doing merch as a YouTuber, and I've been offered stuff about merch, people will contact me and be like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. It's always so expensive. So I did those mugs and sweatshirts, and I did them for the best price that I could do them for, because again, I wanted it to be as affordable as possible. I honestly think I could have sold for a lot more than I did, because when I was contacted by other people who were like, we create this merch, talking twice as much for a sweatshirt, £45-50 for a sweatshirt, and they were not better quality than the ones that I was selling for $20-25. I think $22.99 was what mine were marked at. I wasn't making a lot of money from that at all. I just feel weird about it. I do. The whole thing gives me the ick. But that's not, it's hard to say that without being judgmental of other people, isn't it? It's hard to say, that's not what I would have done, without saying, well, they shouldn't have done that. That's not really what I mean, but I suppose it is. I can't really get away from it. So I'm going to go and eat with my friend, and I'm going to have a beer or two, which honestly is probably a bad idea, because I was going to do a bold lip, but now I've done kind of crazy eyes, so maybe not. I had like what I would consider to be like a quarter of a glass of wine. And when I have a glass of wine, I have a really big glass, and I only pour it to like a third, maybe a third. And I didn't finish that. And when I went to bed last night, I had a headache, and I woke up this morning with the worst headache. And all I can think is like, my body, since I started taking antidepressants, which I'm no longer taking, but is it still in my system? I don't know. I can't drink anymore. This is a plumping gloss. My friend Alana passed over a few things that she didn't want. I haven't used this before, but I feel like I'll give it a go just to see if it tingles. I used to really like a tingly lip gloss. It's just a clear lip gloss, really. It's called Pacifica Vegan Collagen Lip Plumping Gloss. Ta-da! Don't buy it, you don't need it. Absolutely. I mean, more in terms of making something much more expensive because you know your audience will buy it. Yes, exactly. So there's no problem with like doing these things. It's not an issue with someone creating merch, not an issue with someone doing sponsorships, but it's all about how you do it, what you choose to do, and whether or not you're really considering the ramifications for your audience when you do those things. I'm sure I've done things in the past that I'm like, oh, Do you know what I always think of one particular gig I had once upon a time, which was with Buyer Power. Has anybody been around since then? I'm going to have to go in like 2 minutes. But very quickly before I do, can anyone remember the days of Buyer Power? It was... Where is... Oh, no. I'm going to have to mousse my hair. I washed it yesterday and I put too much oil in and now it immediately looks greasy. You remember Buyer Power? Okay. So Buyer Power was a website which was a... I can't get away with it down, can I? Could I do that like half up thing, do you think? I mean, I love it more down. But, or maybe I could just dry shampoo it. Let's try that. Because it is clean. The top of it is clean. It's just kind of like too much oil in the ends. Is that something that can be remedied? I don't know. There's nothing. There's nothing to be done. Let's try this one. Yeah, so Buyer Power. Let me tell you how that structure works. You must have been... This was... more than 10 years. Milo was a baby, and Milo's about to be 12. He was like a baby. I think I was doing Buyer Power before we got married. So, the thing of Buyer Power was, there would be like a chart on the website, and it would say, if 50 people buy this thing, then the price will come down for everyone. If it's like wholesale. So like if we all got together and said, well, we all want this one thing, we want to pay less for it, but we'll buy it all together and there's like 200 of us. If we buy 200, they'll give us a better price on each individual item. So what did they call it? Something buying, like co-buying, or... There was a word that they used to describe this system that was like, we come together and buy together. This is craziness. This is just like slept on damp hair. It's insane. I'll take a clip with me because there's no way this is staying down. Have we reached the point where random people join the live? Is it 30 minutes? What is that? I don't know. Anyway, so let's say it was, they called it co-buying. So a certain amount of people buy the product and then everyone gets it for cheaper. And I used to do sponsored videos / blog posts back in the day for Buyer Power. And I would get paid £25 to make that video. And I remember getting so much hate for doing those videos. £25. It was not worth one person having a go at me for £25, which is quite funny when I think about it now. That was... I have never experienced the meanness of YouTube like I had early days of YouTube. People are fine now. Like, no one cares about me anymore, which is great. Swings and roundabouts, but it is effectively great because I got all of that stuff out of my system really early on. And I think part of the reason for that was because Milo was small. And if you've ever been a mum on the internet in any way, shape or form, it's not a fun time. Not even a little bit. But £25, yeah, I think about that quite often. Like I've done sponsorships. I think the biggest sponsorship I ever got was, I probably can't say what it was for, but it was for a multiple pieces of content for a large hair care brand, and it was like about £2,500. And honest to God, I was like, I'm a millionaire. I was like, I've made it. That's never happened again. That was like, wow. I once got paid, I want to say it was about £1,500 to do a video for a large chain of shopping centres, and I was called a Christmasologist, which I always said that I was going to put that on my CV. Christmasologist. That was really fun. But then you could go 6 months without anything that felt right to accept, Because people will say, well, we'll pay you this to talk about. Someone talked about Temu. I've had lots of offers to talk about Temu. I'm like, no. Shein, I did a sponsored thing for them once, and people were like, oh, I can't believe you're talking about Shein. I'm like, won't do that again. Won't do that again then. Doesn't matter how much they offered me. I won't do that again. It's not worth ruining your reputation over. And if someone was to say, I'll give you £5,000 to talk about whatever bingo, I wouldn't take it. So it's not just, financially motivated. You've really got to think about the people that you're, and natural cycles. Don't mind talking about them by name. Makes me really cross that people were paid to promote something that could definitely get people into trouble. Natural cycles. That was a bad time for YouTubers. No amount of money would have got me. I always used to say, if it was something that you'd be like burning down your house, there has to be burn down your house money. Need to be £1 million. Yeah, everyone's got a price, but it would have to be so much money that you're just ready to, like, as soon as I've posted that, everything goes away. You're closing down every single social media platform because you feel so bad about whatever it is that you've just done. But I think for the most part, it's just a no. There's so many things that people should turn down, and I'll give the benefit of the doubt for some stuff, but for others, I think you knew better. Also, I keep baking my makeup with. I'm like, oh, I'll at some point dust that off, and it's just absorbed. So maybe baking's not for me. How much do they offer? Literally anything. It doesn't matter how much. It could be thousands. I've had offers for stuff that I'm like, I don't feel good about that. No, it's just not something I can do. And yes, people who got pregnant using natural cycles, and it was all young girls who were like, oh, this is a new thing and it's going to be great because no hormones. I immediately told my daughter about it. It was like, never use this. You use regular contraception. Never ever use this. Take this from a teen mom. Don't be using a thermometer to check how fertile you are. That is a solid no. And also, STDs and stuff. It just makes me cross. Anyway, I've got to go because I'm meeting my friend Stacey. Thanks for keeping me company while I ranted about something that had been on my mind this week. Do you know what? It's probably for the best that I did this as a live, because I might have gotten some critique had I just posted it as a regular video. There's a reason that natural methods families have loads of children, correct? If you want to find out, if you're ovulating to get pregnant, great. Don't be using this as contraception. It's a terrible idea. Also, I've just noticed in the thing, I'm like, oh, I painted my nails yesterday. Haven't painted my nails in years, I want to say. Years. Just regular nail polish, because I stopped going to my nail tech because my nails were just getting ravaged by the candles and the concrete and stuff, and now I'm kind of evening out a little bit, and I thought, oh, do something a little bit nice. Right, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much. You all have a lovely rest of your Saturday and Sunday, and